Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I kind of wanted to take it back to the basics a little bit, because if you've been hearing the news, there's a cost of living crisis going on, and of course things are getting more expensive due to inflation. And if you haven't really been thinking about money in the past, you're probably thinking about it now. So in this video, I want to talk about, the concepts of managing your money and some of the mindset blocks that might be stopping you from managing your money. And the reason why I say that is because it's all well and good me sharing the tips and tricks, and I have a lot of videos talking about how you can manage your money better, save money, budget your money, invest your money, all of that good stuff. But I think at the core of it, it's going to come down to your mindset and behaviors. And if you're not able to fix those first, it's going to be difficult for you to implement any of the tips or strategies you might see on YouTube or Instagram or blogs or anything like that. And so I really want to not only take it back to the basics, but be a bit deep here and talk about some of the thoughts that might already be stopping you from managing your money. And so even if we are in this crisis and we have no idea how long it's going to last, hopefully these tips will allow you to have a completely different mindset so you can manage your money better, even if things continue to get a bit more expensive. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so if you are struggling with managing your money, especially during this time, I think one of the biggest mindset shifts that will help you is not thinking about the money that you don't have, but think about the money that you do have. So in other words, what I'm really talking about is just being really grateful for the amount that you currently have. Now, the reason why I wanted to make this point is because in the past, when I initially didn't think I had enough money, that basically told me that I could never build wealth. It told me that I could never save money. I could never find money to invest for my future. I couldn't do any of that. And so I almost gave up and just decided to spend everything that I had because I felt like I never had enough money anyway. But when I decided to start working on my mindset, particularly when it came to money, I realized that I had to change my thoughts around this, because what was happening is that even though I may not have been technically broke, I always felt like I was broke. And so it meant that I was never going to manage my money better and I was never going to save money. And so especially for me, from a faith perspective, I decided that I was just going to be grateful to God for the money that he's actually given me. And so even though I may not have been earning as much as I wanted to, I still wanted to be thankful for the money that I currently had. And so when I was grateful for the money I had, I realized that I could still learn how to manage the money that I have. I may not be able to save as much, but I can still save some money. And so that's what I did. At the point where I was trying to pay off my debt, even with that income, I was still able to give a percentage of my income to charities and to my church. And I was also able to pay off my debt regardless of my income changing. And so just being grateful for the money you have will do wonders, even if it's not as much as you would like. And if you're liking this video so far, then feel free to give me a thumbs up, as it really does help to support the channel. Plus, I'm sure you know, it's free. Now, the second thing I want to mention is kind of linked to my first point, but if you're struggling to manage your money, especially during this time, it's really important to realize that making more money won't necessarily fix the problem. Now, I've said this plenty of times before, but I do want to reiterate it again. I'm not saying that making more money is bad or that you should not be trying to make more money. 100%, I think making more money is going to be really important, especially if you're trying to think about your financial future and you just want that added security. However, what I'm trying to say is that making more money may not always fix your problems. So for example, let's say that you're making 40k a year and you're actually struggling to manage that money well, and you're struggling to maybe save or know where your money is going. There's a high chance that the same thing will happen if you end up making 80k a year. If you have all this money coming in, you may struggle to understand where that money should go, and what could happen is that you end up spending all of it, and then again you find that you're in the same position as you were at 40k a year, but you've just got more liabilities. So in my case, what I decided to do is, before I focused on making more money, I asked myself, how can I learn how to manage the money I have first, so that when I do end up making more money, it becomes a blessing and not a curse. And so let's say that you are earning a decent wage, but you are struggling to manage your money even before all of this high inflation. Well, you need to start thinking about what season you're currently in and what you need to focus on, because making more money won't necessarily fix the problem. Now, right now you might be thinking, yeah, Auntie V, I'm sure that could happen to some people, but honestly, if I just made more money, I know that I'll be able to save it. Whilst that may be the case, I do want to stress that it doesn't always work like that. For example, I've had people come to me telling me that they have a full-time job plus they have a side hustle and they still have no idea where their money is going. So even though they've probably got a promotion and they've even got more money from their side hustle, they still have the same problem. And the reason being is because they've just thought of a band-aid solution, thinking that just making more money is going to help fix the root problem. Now, yes, during this time, obviously with things getting more expensive, it would make sense to start thinking about making more money if you can. But I'm just saying that you really want to be mindful and understand how to still manage the money you have first, so that when you now start to make more money, you understand exactly where it's going. And if you are looking to try and make more money, especially as things are getting more expensive, then I am part of something called Financial Joy Academy, which is essentially a membership run by Ken and Mary from The Humble Penny, where they can actually help you get started on a side hustle depending on what your goals are. So make sure you do check that out if you haven't already. I will leave a link in the description below for you. But again, what I'm just saying is, even if you're focusing on making more money, it's not going to fix everything. And especially if you're in the camp where you're really struggling to manage the money you currently have, you may want to focus on that first before then transitioning into making more money. Now, another thing I want to mention when it comes to managing money, especially if you're struggling with that at this moment in time, is to start thinking about getting to the root problem. Now, at this point in time, you might be thinking, okay, Auntie V, what is going on? What on earth do you mean by the root problem? Well, don't worry, because I'm going to explain exactly what I mean. So what I mean is actually step back and start thinking about the reasons why you might not be good with money. So as an example, when I'm coaching a lot of women on their money and their personal finances, I find that there's at least one core problem as to why they may not feel like they're good with money, or they haven't been able to manage their money in the past. A lot of it will come from previous history. So for example, if their parents were never good with money, or if their parents never taught them about money, that could be a reason why they think that they're not good with money. Or for example, let's say in your childhood, you find that actually the way you grew up is very different to how you want to live your life today. So how you grew up, you may have been in a household that didn't have much money. And so if you then start working or you start a business and you're making a lot more money than before, how you view that money is going to be different. It may be that you now want to start spending money and buying up some luxuries that you may not have had during your childhood. And so once you get to the root problem and you find out what is actually going on, you know, why do you have these thoughts, that's when you can now start to work on it and you can start to unlearn a lot of stuff. Okay, so the other thing that I want to share with you when it comes to managing your money better is to encourage you to start changing your thoughts about how you can manage your money better. Now, throughout this video, you may have been thinking, oh, are there some quick tips and strategies that I can use to manage my money better? But honestly, I will be the first to tell you that until you can start changing your mindset and behaviors first, nothing else is going to work. Do you know why? Because I tried the same thing. So I tried the budgeting, I tried to save money, but I could never do it consistently, and it always felt like I was doing something wrong, until I found out that when it comes to personal finance and managing your money, 80% of it really does come from your mindset and behaviors, and the other 20% is head knowledge. So if you spend so much of your time trying to understand the strategies and the tips to manage your money better, it's not necessarily going to work if you haven't worked on your money mindset. So when I'm talking about changing your thoughts around managing your money, one of the examples could be changing your thoughts around how you identify. So in my case, before I started on this journey, I literally saw myself as a spender. That's just how I identified. I never thought I could save money because I'd never saved money before, and I'd always been living paycheck to paycheck and literally just spent every penny that I earned. But what I realized is if I wanted to start managing my money better, and not only that, but truly build wealth and start working towards things like financial independence, I needed to change how I identified. I didn't want to just be spender Veronia. I also wanted to be a saver, and I also wanted to be an investor. And so I had to change my thought process and start thinking differently. So instead of me thinking that I just live paycheck to paycheck and I could never save money, I said to myself, actually, I think I could save money, and I think I could be a saver as well as a spender and an investor too. And that's what I did. When I started changing my thoughts, I then started saving more money. And when I was able to save money and pay off my debt, I then started thinking that I could also be an investor, and I started learning about investing and then really started to invest my money as well. And so changing your thought process when it comes to managing your money is probably going to be one of the biggest things, but it's also going to be one of the hardest things you can do. And I say that because in your mind, you have probably had that same thought process for years. And so if you want to change that thought process, it's going to take a bit of work, and it's not going to happen overnight. Even where I am today, I may still have money mindset issues, which I also need to focus on. But it's going to be a process, and it's still something that you'll need to focus on for a very long time. Now, if you do need some support when it comes to managing your money better and really focusing on that mindset part, because it can be difficult to do, then make sure you do check out my one-on-one coaching, because it's designed to help you go from thinking about just being a spender to a saver and ultimately to an investor, to really help you start working towards financial independence. So if you are interested, you can book a free call with me to find out more. So I'll link more information up here for you and in the description below. But if you've been struggling with managing your money for a while now, it could be because you've not been working on what's happening up here. So if you've been trying all the strategies and the tips and they haven't worked, it's really important to start working on your mindset first, because that is probably going to be the catalyst to then help you manage your money better. And then what you can do is sprinkle the tips and strategies on top, and in no time you'll be managing your money like a boss. So if you did like this video, then please do give me a thumbs up if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments, did any of these points resonate with you when it comes to managing your money? I do post every Tuesday, so if you would like to know more, then of course you can subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next Tuesday.